Hello everyone, today is 10th of January, Friday, so I hope you will have a wonderful day and a great upcoming weekend. Now it's about 9 o'clock in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for a day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Later on, at evening time, I will publish second news update on my Patreon and Boosty pages with additional main news that Russian media will report during the day. And well, if you like my work and want to support in the long run and also have access to more news from Russia, more commentary, you're more than welcome to join our community on Patreon. Or if you have any issues with Patreon, you can subscribe to my Boosty page. I'm publishing same videos, same extra content basically on both platforms. So that's being said, let's go through some news now. And first of all, few updates from special military operations zone and also from counter-terrorist operations zone. When it comes to special military operation, we have a preliminary, let's say, report that Russian armed forces established control over the Toretsk settlement, which is one of the biggest towns right now on the line of contact. And according to even the Russian Defense Ministry did not yet confirm liberation of Toretsk, according to some sources, clearing operation is underway now, and at any time today or tomorrow, day after, Russian Defense Ministry might confirm liberation of Toretsk, which is definitely going to be a big blow for the Kyiv regime and its NATO backers, and obviously it will have a quite devastating impact on already low morale of Kyiv regime's forces. So some major development is happening in Toretsk direction for sure. And when it comes to zone of counter-terrorist operation in Kursk salient area, we also have reports officially unconfirmed by Russian Defense Ministry, but even Ukrainian bloggers like Anatoly Shari, for example, are reporting that Russian armed forces establish control over the settlement of Nikolaevka on the northern western part of this Kursk salient area, and also Russian armed forces establish partial control and conducting clearing operation in Staraya Sorochina settlement and also in Malaya Loknya areas. So it is quite likely that enter this sector in the northern western part of Kursk salient area is under Russian control already. That's quite a possibility. Let's see what kind of additional information we will receive during the day from Russian Defense Ministry. And this report about Kursk salient area clearly, confirms that a recent attempt of Kyiv regime to regain initiative while conducting yet another, or while sending its troops on yet another suicidal operation failed completely, and their initiative not just in Russian hands, but Russian armed forces, Russian security services are liberating more and more settlements and territories in that area, and yet again, by the way, under current rate of losses on part of Kyiv regime, it's only a matter of maximum 4 to 6 weeks, I guess, and there will be no more invading troops of Kyiv regime and the NATO mercenaries in Kursk region of the Russian Federation, maybe earlier than that. Now let's go through some other news, and RIA Novosti is reporting, based on Russian Defense Ministry's update, that during the nighttime, early hours of this morning, Russian air defense systems on duty intercepted 40 Ukrainian drones that were launched with their obviously active participation of or assistance of NATO countries to strike deep into Russian territory. 16 drones were intercepted over the Rostov region, and unfortunately there are some preliminary reports that in one of the areas industrial facility was damaged as a result of drone strikes. 10 drones were intercepted over the aquatory of Azov Sea 4 drones over the Kursk and Voronezh region, 3 drones over the Bryansk region, 2 drones over the Krasnodar region, and 1 drone over the Belgorod region. During the day, probably we'll receive more information about this latest attempt of Kyiv regime to strike deep into Russian territory, and I will share additional information on my Telegram channel and Twitter X page, and in the next updates. Also, we have TASS News Agency's report that yesterday, late afternoon, Russian air defense systems intercepted a missile over the Kursk region area. No details are provided about this missile strike of Kyiv regime. No report about any casualties on the ground or damage. And also no specifications what kind of missile was intercepted. Was it Soviet era .U or Neptune missile or whatever Kyiv regime can produce on its own, or was it ATACMS missile, for example, US-made ATACMS missile, or British Storm Shadow cruise missile, or French Scalp-EG missile. It's unknown. Information is unknown about it. And dear friends, even if it was a Western-made missiles, as I already said quite a few times before, I guess Russian leadership is determined to wait before new administration will be in office in US. So that means most likely Russian side, if that is the case, then most likely even if long-range strikes with Western missiles will become, daily stuff from now to 20th of January, I guess Russian side will try to exercise restraint and not to escalate, especially in regards to military assets of the US, UK, potentially France. But things might change significantly after 20th of January if these long-range strikes will continue, and I'm afraid these strikes will continue. But yet again, I'm not going to criticize Russian government for exercising restraints, because you should give a peace a chance, right? So if Putin and his inner circle are thinking that there is a chance that we might see de-escalation once Trump is in office, then let's give this let's take a time and give a chance to potential de-escalation, potential peace. I guess that is the right approach. Although, in my personal opinion, I think nothing will change once Trump is in office. Most likely, these long-range strikes will continue, and might even intensify. And once that will become clear, I guess Russia will act quite differently on such strikes. Anyways, let's continue. This morning, Russian media outlets are reporting that there was explosions in Kiev. No specifics, although some independent channels on Telegram reported that as a result of intercepting one of the Russian drones, Iran drones, fragments of that drone fell into a residential area. This information is officially not confirmed, so therefore this is just a speculation, seems like, on part of Ukrainian propaganda outlets and some independent channels on Telegram. Anything is possible. Kyiv regime already demonstrated there are dozens of times that they don't care about potential damage to civilians, and that's why they are intercepting drones or missiles over the residential parts of the cities. And quite often we all know that quite often Kyiv regime's air defense systems are actually more damage to civilian areas that than intercepted drone fragments or missile fragments. There was many occasions, documented by the way, occasions when you can see clearly on a video that air defense system is launching missile, then this missile is going rogue and hitting some residential building. I mean, plenty of videos on internet on that, so you can check it. So therefore, I would not be surprised at all if during the day we will find out that Kyiv regime's air defense systems yet again targeted their own civilians due to malfunction of missile or their air defense system. Right now, as I'm recording this update, reports are coming in that still air raid alert is active in Kyiv. Also, we have TASS news agencies report, dear friends, that a so-called president of Ukraine, Zelensky, stated that after gathering in Ramstein, a US military base in Germany, Kyiv regime received promises of military aid for another $2 billion US dollars. 500 million will be allocated by US, by Pentagon. Rest most likely comes from other NATO member states. And by the way, when it comes to Western military aid to Kyiv regime, we have this report also. Kommersant newspaper is reporting that Der Spiegel, German media outlet, come up with an article that current Chancellor of Germany, or outgoing, one should say, Chancellor of Germany, Scholz, is blocking proposal of Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock and Defense Minister of Germany, Boris Pistorius, to allocate another 3 billion euros for immediate military aid to the regime. Obviously, I don't know if we can trust sources of the Der Spiegel, German media outlet, but because right now there is a political crisis in Germany, on 23rd of February, early elections should take place. Topic of Ukraine obviously will be one of the main topics that politicians there will use to gain some political points. And if Scholz really is blocking this initiative of Baerbock and Pistorius, that may be indicator that Scholz is trying to play on emotions of part of German society that is against Germany's involvement in this conflict. So he hopes probably to, make some political points by acting this way, because obviously he, until now at least, he was actively involved in this proxy war against Russia, and therefore Germany was and still is actively involved in this proxy war. RT is reporting that Donald Trump, president-elect of US, yet again made statement about potential meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. I shared a short video of his statement on my Telegram channel this morning, when he's saying that he wants to meet with Putin, and according to him, some work is even already being done to organize such a meeting. But I think he was speaking generally about future meetings that he might have with foreign leaders, right? Even though he was talking about Putin at the moment, and he mentioned also Xi Jinping, and therefore I think he was generalizing, because as far as I understand, right now there are no preparations of the meeting between Trump and Putin, and Peskov, press spokesman of the Russian president, was very clear on that. But let's go through this news. First, US President-elect Donald Trump said on Thursday that a meeting was being set up between him and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Yet again, I think media is mistaken with this news, because knowing how Trump talks, I mean, we had quite a time to basically monitor the way Trump is talking, isn't it? My understanding is that he was generalizing. He was not talking specifically about meeting with Putin, although, who knows, maybe I'm misreading something here. But anyways, we have a quote here. He wants to meet and we are setting it up, Trump said before a meeting with the Republican governors in his Mar-a-Lago golf club in Palm Beach, Florida. According to Reuters, he did not specify when the meeting would take place. As I already said, dear friends, press spokesman of the Russian president was quite clear that no preparations have been done to organize a meeting between Trump and Vladimir Putin for now, although Kremlin, according to him, will welcome contact from Trump. So Moscow would be willing to talk to U.S. President-elect Donald Trump if he sticks to his plan of restoring contacts. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov told journalists on Thursday Russia has not received any specific request from Washington in this regard. He also added, and dear friend, if you ask me, I think a meeting between Trump and Putin probably will not take place at least for the next 3 to 6 months. And I have a reason to say so, because after all, yesterday we had statements from Kellogg, future official representative of Trump in Ukrainian crisis, in Ukraine and Russia. And Kellogg said that they are focused now on some 100-day timeline, right? To basically prepare the ground for negotiations to end the conflict in Ukraine, right? So that means that during these 100 days, at least, even when Trump is in office, Pentagon will continue to pour in weapons and the money. Pentagon and Washington will continue to pour in this conflict, pouring more weapons and money, right? Which will definitely make it more difficult for Russian side to have any meaningful negotiations with Washington, right? If weapons and money supply will not stop immediately, if Trump's administration will continue to invest heavily in more killings of Russian citizens, then I mean, you tell me how Russian president would feel about it. You know what his thought process would be. Right? He will say, "No, what these guys are not any better than previous ones, right? So therefore, what should I talk about with these ones? To simplify, matter. So therefore, I think until Russia will achieve, until Russia will force basically Kiev regime's armed forces to collapse all along the front line, and until Western ruling class and their proxies will not face the reality that they have to accept unconditional surrender, I don't think any talks will take place between Russian leadership and US leadership. And that may be 3 months from now, 6 months from now, or a year from now, but I definitely don't expect any meeting between Russian and the US presidents anytime soon. It's just nonsensical, right? What they gonna discuss? And the Russian president, I guess, already demonstrated that he's not about some photo opportunities, right? He don't needs that. So therefore, no one should expect that they're gonna be any, they're gonna be meeting between Trump and Putin anytime soon. Definitely not earlier than at least 3 to 6 months, but most likely there will be no meeting between Trump and Putin in 2025 at all. That's my personal take on the situation. I expect personally this current proxy war that West is waging against Russia to get even more tense once Trump is in office, because I'm 100% convinced that Western ruling class has already prepared the next phase of escalation after this long-range missile strikes, which is transformation of the Kyiv regime into a nuclear armed regime, right? And therefore, when Trump is in office, most likely his team will continue to come up with some nonsensical, unacceptable ideas for Russia about Ukrainian crisis, like, for example, freezing of the conflict, deployment of NATO troops as a sort of peacekeepers, even if they call them European troops, right? Or delay of Ukraine's accession to NATO for another 10, 15, 20 years. I mean, this is all nonsensical ideas that will never be accepted for Russia. So therefore, once Trump's administration will come up with these ideas officially, then after that, and Moscow will say, you know what, this is not serious. And if you are not ready for serious talks, then okay. And after that, I guess Trump's team, Trump's administration will start further escalating, right? And I already said what is the next phase of escalation. It's a transformation of Kyiv regime into a nuclear armed regime. And that's why I'm saying, by the way, Moscow knows about it. High-ranking officials here in Russia already said, including Russian president, already said that Moscow will never allow Kyiv regime to become a nuclear armed regime, which means that if after inauguration, Trump and his team immediately in a few weeks' time will not come up with real workable ideas, workable proposals, or acceptable for Moscow proposals to de-escalate, then things might change dramatically, and Russia will act very differently, and we will all see that. And under very differently, I mean if long-range strikes with the Western weapon systems continues, well, at that point, most likely we will see Russian retaliatory strikes, not just on Kyiv-controlled territory, but also on military assets of the countries that are involved in those long-range strikes. That's what is going to happen, by the way. But meanwhile, RT is reporting that UK claims Trump has an Easter target for Ukraine peace deal. So the team of incoming US President Donald Trump has reassessed its time frame for reaching potential peace deal between Moscow and Kiev. British Foreign Secretary David Lammy told journalists on Thursday. The Financial Times also reported, citing European officials, that Trump's team is yet to narrow down its options for how to approach negotiations. Trump no longer expects to strike an agreement between Russia and Ukraine immediately after his inauguration on January 20, Lammy said, adding that such an outcome is now unlikely. Trump has promised on several occasions to achieve a negotiated settlement of the Ukraine conflict in just one day. Initially, he claimed he would be able to do it even before his inauguration. In December, he said that he would wait for a meeting with the Russian President Vladimir Putin after taking office to end the ongoing hostilities. Speaking to, the rest of it is just water. So yes, it was never serious statement, I guess, from Trump that he's gonna end this conflict in one day. He talks that way, isn't it? He's very rarely specific in his statements. He's always generalizing. He's talking. He has specific way to speak, and therefore we should not really take for face value anything that comes out from Trump, right? But yet again, if he or his inner circle are serious about de-escalating, they have to come up with acceptable for Russia initiatives in the very first days or maximum very first few weeks after Trump's inauguration, or situation will or Russians' response on Western escalation will become much more decisive, let's say this way. Vzгляд newspaper is reporting that, well, as you know, dear friends, Trump demanded from NATO member states to increase their military spending up to 5% of their GDP. During his during his first term in office, he was demanding 2% GDP to be spent on defense. Now he's adding another 3% to this number. Okay. I don't think majority of NATO member states will even try to reach this number. And among them, definitely Germany, I guess, at least current Chancellor of Germany, Olaf Scholz, is definitely against further increase in military spendings, and he said that this initiative from Trump to increase spending on up to 5% is completely unacceptable. I'm not sure Germany even can afford this at this point, by the way. German economy is in recession and facing, huge challenges, right? Faces huge challenges, and how Berlin gonna increase its military spending for almost 150%, man? I don't know. It's just not feasible, right? And the very same goes for a majority of NATO member states. Trump can demand whatever, but objective reality on the ground will dictate its own terms, right? And dear friends, before I continue, let me notice that this project is completely subscriber funded, and if you like my work, if you like this channel, if you think I deserve to be in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support this project with donation through PayPal or Boosty platforms, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. All the links, including crypto wallet address, is under this video in description box and in the pinned comment. For the last 3 days, this project didn't receive any donation, so hopefully something will change today. I don't know, but anyways, as I said, all the links under this video in description box and in the pinned comment. Meanwhile, fires continue in California, and US conservatives already are blaming woke policies of the local authorities for poor wildfire response. This morning, I shared on my Telegram channel and also on Twitter X page that as a result of massive wildfires in Los Angeles County, approximately 9,000 homes have been damaged or destroyed, and this was reported by LA Times. Obviously, we all seen these horrific footage, videos, photos from California, from LA area. Entire blocks of residential parts of the city were decimated. 100,000 people, over 100,000 people have been evacuated. Unfortunately, death toll has reached 7 at this point, despite their evacuation. And unfortunately, it seems like emergency services are unable to deal with this situation, and fire is extinguished in many areas only after there is nothing is left to be burned, right? So some major assessments probably will take place in California, especially among local residents, because they pay, unbelievable taxes, unbelievable level in their taxes, crazy volume, right? Crazy percentage. They were supporting Democrats for decades and decades, right? And what they get, and they are living, by the way, at least formally, in one of the richest states, not just in US, but if California was an independent state, according to some reports, it would be 5th economy in the world. And does it looks like California really is on top? If you take in account response of local authorities on this emergency, it does not look like that. So therefore, I expect some groundbreaking changes to take place in California. Otherwise, this great state is doomed to total disaster, by the way. It's gonna go bankrupt, by the way. Yeah, this is crazy, man. It's not even like a third world country. It's worse than that. Anyways, I'm saying this because you all see, isn't it, reaction of local authorities. Seems like they don't even care, man. These people are psychos. Everybody, literally everybody in leadership of California, in leadership of LA are fucking psychos, man. They should be in jail. They should be in jail, by the way. For mismanaging taxpayers' money and to be engaged. I'm quite sure they all are engaged in different schemes of a fraud. And I guess under the Trump's administration, there will be investigations, by the way. And those people, possibly even Governor Newsom, will end up in jail. Just mark my word, by the way. This is crazy what's happening there. And they should be in jail. Interfax, meanwhile, is reporting that, US Congress voted basically to impose sanctions against ICC, so-called International Criminal Court, because ICC earlier issued an arrest warrant for Netanyahu. And, let's see where this story goes, by the way. Very same so-called lawmakers in US were applauding ICC when they issued when this so-called court issued arrest warrant for Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Russian ombudsman for kids, for saving the kids, by the way, from for evacuating the kids from zone of hostilities, right, and save their lives. And these idiots in US Congress were applauding that absolutely nonsensical, crazy decision on part of ICC. But when ICC issued arrest warrant for Netanyahu, these psychopaths go crazy. And they are now voting to impose some sanctions on this so-called institution that went rogue, and did something that Washington didn't really liked, So you tell me how fake all these so-called principles are that Western so-called elites are constantly talking about, and how fake those so-called elites are themselves. You know, nowadays, I think that there is nothing real in the West no more. You know, everything is fake. It's not just about double standards and stuff. I mean, Western ruling class, Western so-called principles or ideas, everything is fake, by the way. Everything has been weaponized, right? Corrupt. And this decision of US Congress clearly confirms that, you know? Nothing real is left in the West. You know? That's my impression, at least, man. And I wonder how long it will take before residents of the Western countries will finally realize that, you know what, we have to get out of here, man, and find a new place for living where normality is welcomed, where realness is applauded, right? And I mean, once this realization will settle in the Western societies, well, there is not that many options. World is huge, by the way, but when it comes to options, I guess Russia is definitely will be on top of the list, right? And that's why I'm saying, by the way, I expect huge, massive waves of migration from the Western countries. Because, I mean, if I was a citizen of US or Germany or France or UK, by the way, I would definitely look for a exit, because obviously societies are so, in the Western countries, in my understanding, are so divided that they cannot deal with the system. They cannot deal with these corrupt elites, you know? And what option do they have then? To migrate to the place where normality is welcomed, and where principles, declared principles and values really mean something and are not fake as it is in the West, among Western so-called elites, by the way. I'm talking about so-called elites. I'm not talking about ordinary people, obviously, right? So, I mean, give it another couple of years, man, and if now many people from the West are migrating to Russia, I mean, you will see what will happen in a couple of years' time. We're gonna see waves and waves of migration, and they are welcomed. They are welcomed, by the way. Russia needs more people, and it is gonna be beneficial for migrants and for society here in Russia, and for the country also, because people that will migrate to Russia are, you know, hardworking, law-obeying people that want to live in peace, by the way, and normality, right? And Russia can offer that, for sure. And by the way, Vzгляд newspaper is reporting that Roberto Fico, Prime Minister of Slovakia, once again is making some strong statements in regards to Kyiv regime, and saying that some harsh measures will be taken by Bratislava as a response for Kyiv's decision to cut, not to sign, basically, not to prolong an agreement with the Gazprom for transit of Russian gas through a pipeline network that Kyiv regime is in charge of for now. Well, such statements we already heard from Bratislava, from different officials, including from Fico, and I mean, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what Fico might do. They can cut electricity supply to Kyiv regime, that's for sure, and maybe that is going to happen. And also, by the way, Bratislava may also create some additional barriers for Ukrainian exports of their agricultural produce on European market, and it's not just Bratislava, but I mean Hungary is there, and by the way, even Austria that is extremely anti-Russian. If you take in account leadership of this country, even Austria may at one point confront Kyiv regime, because Austria gonna suffer quite a lot due to actions of the Kyiv regime. And I guess energy prices in Austria already had risen, and when energy prices are on rise, obviously everything else is also increasing in price. So inflation gonna hit Europe in a significant way, especially Central and Eastern European countries. Although inflation is already a big deal, by the way, in Europe, as far as I understand. Members of our community from Europe are writing quite often in the comment sections what is happening in regards to inflation, and according to those comments, by the way, inflation should be there much higher than official numbers. TASS news agency, meanwhile, is reporting that Japanese leadership imposed yet another sanctions package, introduced yet another sanctions package on Russia. 11 private citizens and 51 companies were sanctioned from Russia, and also three banks were sanctioned. And the point is that all these companies, by the way, and most likely all these private citizens, already are under sanctions, most likely, and sanctions of the EU and sanctions of US, or and now Japan is joining this club. And by the way, this is not all. Japan also imposed sanctions against a few dozen of companies, not from Russia, from other countries that were cooperating with Russia, and one private person. No specifics there from which country, but well, Tokyo or Japanese leadership is also going crazy, by the way. Okay, if they want to be on hostile terms with Russia, okay, what we can do about it? Just don't give us a reason to thank you all. That's what I would say to Japan. And don't give us a reason to, just be careful there, because everything that has a beginning has an end also. And I guess that goes for patience of the Russian leadership too, right? And all these Chihuahua countries, quasi-states like Japan, Mapan, and the rest of their, they should be careful, man. They should be careful, because they are playing with fire. And I would not recommend to continue on that path, for their own sake, Anyways, let's continue. RIA Novosti is reporting that, we have reaction from Moscow on decision of Armenia's leadership to seek EU membership. I reported yesterday that the government of Armenia, Western-controlled government of Armenia, supported their draft bill that will be introduced to the Parliament of Armenia about Armenia's aspiration to join EU. And Vice Prime Minister of Russia, Alexei Overchuk, stated that this decision of Armenian authorities have been perceived in Moscow as a beginning of Armenia's exodus from Eurasian Economical Union, which is exactly what it is. You cannot be member of both economical blocs, right? And so if Armenia wants to be a member of their EU, okay, it's their decision. So nothing we can do about it. But at the same time, obviously, Armenia cannot benefit by remaining member of Eurasian Economical Union, which allows Armenian businesses, by the way, to have free access to Russian market, which is a big deal, isn't it? So, okay, I guess it's only a matter of time, and Armenia will exit all the organizations that Yerevan is member of on a post-Soviet area, including Eurasian Economical Union. And well, what can I say, by the way? I mean, good luck to Armenia, to Armenian people. You know, they chose their path, which is, you know, I don't think that direction is the right direction for Armenia, but who am I to say anything, right? It's their country, their lives. If they want to go on this path, then all can I say is wish them good luck, and that's it, really. Pashinyan's government gonna destroy Armenia, man. Finally, that's what is going to happen. But yet again, if that's what they want, then, you know. Anyways, dear friends, this is it for now. Hopefully you will find this update interesting, informative, useful, and if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary. If you notice, algorithm on YouTube yet again is you know, suppressing my videos. Majority of our community probably never receives any notification about updates, never sees my videos in on YouTube page. So therefore, only way to reach wider audience is likes and comments. Sometimes it works, sometimes not. But if you can, click that like button, leave some commentary just about anything, and as many comments as you can, dear friends. I mean, 1, 2, 5, you know. Let's see if we can deal with this algorithm, man. And if you like my work, as I already said, I mean, you can support. All the links are on this video description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a wonderful day, and see you tomorrow. Or no, man, tomorrow is Saturday, so probably I will take day off on Saturday. I'm not sure about it, but probably I will take day off tomorrow. And so if you are a member of our Patreon and Boosty community, see you later. If not, then see you on Sunday. Bye for now.